Hi there, and welcome to the Beyond Threats podcast by Blackman. My name is Erik Janssen Steenberg. I will be your host today, and I'm thrilled to have you here today. We have an action-packed podcast for you with some exciting topics and discussions. And regardless if you're joining us from your couch at home, from your car during your commute, or from your office, it's nice of you that you have joined us, and let's get going. In each of our episodes of Behind Threats, we take a deep dive into the topics that are relevant at the moment and keep you up to date on all the developments in the logistics sector. And today we have a particularly exciting topic because we're going to take a deep dive in innovations. What does it take to stay relevant in logistics, in supply chain management, in fulfillment, and what do we need to do to make sure that we follow the developments in our sector. For that, I am joined today by Kevin Paindeville, Blackman's very own Warehouse Solutions and Innovations Director. Welcome, Kevin.
Thanks for having me, Erik. Great to be here.
Absolutely. And our second guest today is Bart Gadeyne from Optiorix. Thank you for being here today.
And thanks for having me, Erik. Very excited to be here.
Thank you, absolutely. Today we will be covering the topics of software systems in logistics. Kevin, to kick things off, can you give us a brief overview of what those innovations in software applications are? And maybe start off with a brief introduction of yourself.
Sure. Like you mentioned, my name is Kevin, working at Blackman for 4 years now. I'm responsible for warehouse solution design and innovation, and working since more than 15 years in logistics, trying to help companies to optimize and streamline their operation. To coming back to your question, Erik, if you look on the timeline, evolution of the software in logistics, it's all started with pen and paper. Then we saw evolution where some software dedicated for those purposes were developed, the so-called warehouse management system, transport management system, those monolithic applications that are very useful and were a really big jump from the pen and paper way to operate. The last couple of years, we saw an evolution where those vendors of WMS and TMS, they try also to propose all those features that were embedded in a monolithic software to propose them as individual features. And we call so-called via API, you can call it and receive the feedback, so-called the microservices approach. That's an evolution we see, we notice, and that's a great evolution.
Yeah, you made me feel old right there, because I can still remember having to go into the warehouse with pen and paper every time and any time that you wanted to see something. So
don't feel so old. You still have warehouse where pen and paper is used, where WMS and transport management system monolithic are used.
Yeah.
And it's just a couple of years that we saw that those microservices based software. So don't feel so old.
No, but developments are therefore going very, very quick.
Correct.
Yeah, and ever quicker. So, what role does software currently play in enhancing logistics and warehousing for our customers and in the branch altogether?
Yeah, if you first look the jump from pen and paper to WMS used within the warehouse, then you started to log every action within your warehouse, have track of your inventory, track of your processes, the productivity, the throughput, and so on. So you get more and more aware of what happened really in your warehouse. With the last evolution, a couple of years, it's really the optimization that comes on top of it. So you can really squeeze the gain you can do within your warehouse.
Right. So it all starts with knowing what you don't know, getting more aware, and then applying that in your own benefit. Oh, that's okay. And of course, Optiorix has played a role with that within Blackman, and we're very lucky to be joined today by a representative of Optiorix today. Bart, can you please introduce yourself and explain to us what Optiorix is all about and how they help companies like Blackman?
Sure. So I'm Bart, founder of Optiorix. I have background in algorithm development. Last 10, 15 years, I have been focusing on bringing algorithm development into the logistics industry, getting to those value cases.
Yeah.
And then 2 years ago, together with Vic and Jill, I founded Optiorix. And there we focus on bringing those optimizations within the warehousing industry very specifically. So to be more precise, we help companies like Blackman to increase picking productivity, also to ship less air in boxes on pallets and in trucks, and to gather master data in a more user-friendly way.
Yeah, and where please and thank you used to be the magic words. These days it's algorithm indeed, and you hear that everywhere. So it's good that we know you because it's still Greek to me. But how is Optiorix then revolutionizing logistics through its software?
Yeah, so Kevin already mentioned it. Like typically, logistics providers are using warehouse management systems.
Yeah.
But very often these systems have intelligence gaps. They use a lot of business rules to streamline operations, but sometimes the real optimization power is not there. And this is costing logistics providers a lot of money.
Yes.
And that's where we come in. So we have a very tech-oriented team focusing on that AI component. We develop AI add-ons to streamline those processes to make them more efficient. Just to name a couple of problem processes we identified. First of all, slotting. That's putting the SKUs, the products, on a specific location ID. If you don't do this correctly, you will end up with long walking distances. And AI can play a role there. And we can detect order patterns, not only looking at sales rotation, but also item correlation. So, for example, a shoe and some socks, they are often sold together. We're in the fashion industry, so
yes.
It's better to place them together in a warehouse. It sounds very easy, but of course, if you have thousands of SKUs, it becomes big data, and then you need advanced algorithms or AI to solve that. Second one is picking optimization. So order grouping. If you do this based on business rules, you end up with long walking distances.
Yeah.
Same in packaging. So there we have 3D load building algorithms to give box recommendations. We do the same on trucks. And then last but not least, we've seen that master data gathering is very important. So dimensions, weights, stackability classes, fragility, etc. To be able to optimize the other processes. The currently used systems are quite expensive and not so easy to use. So there we developed the product as well.
Yeah. Yeah, specifically your last example, that really hits a note in my book because I've seen that even the very large brands that we work with, or brands that we don't work with, as well, we see that they are very knowledgeable about their product and what they sell and how they want to sell it, but they're far less educated or automated on capturing the weights, the dimensions, the characteristics of their own products. So I think that's a huge game changer for companies like Blackman. Absolutely. Bart, can you share a specific example of how your software has changed a process or segments of processes within a Blackman warehouse?
Yeah, to elaborate on the point you mentioned about master data, it's a pain point that's every company is facing.
Yeah.
That's one we're really proud of. How did we get there? So we have these packaging recommendations, but if you want to do that, you need to have the right master data. Some of our customers, they wanted to move ahead with their optimization products, but they didn't have the data. So we were looking for alternatives, to be honest. You can go for manual measurements with good old tape measure, which is not the ideal way to go.
Again, I can remember.
Yeah. or you can go for the more expensive static dimensioners, which are a bit capital intensive. So I still see our team sitting in the pub around the corner at the office. And we were thinking, how can we help those customers? Because it's a problem for them, it's a problem for us.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, after a couple of beers, one of my co-founders, Vic, he saw the light. It's the famous Balmer peak. You have one for coding, but you have also the Balmer peak for creative thoughts. All of a sudden, he saw the light on how to create Dimi, the first mobile dimensioning app. So he said, okay, how long do you think that will take? He said 2 weeks development time. Now, 6 months later, we finally finished up the app. And yeah, it allows you to capture master data very easily by just walking around with a mobile phone or an iPad. So how is this being put into operations? Most of the time it's on inbound. If a new SKU comes in, you have some kind of a checklist.
Yep.
Which supplier is it? What was the weight? Was the dimensions? Is it fragile? If it's stackable, yes or not? But we see that's being used in all kinds of processes, to be honest, like also on outbound operations to calculate the shipment cost of a pallet. Nowadays, the volumetric transport rates are coming up.
Yes.
It's also a pain point. And yeah, if you don't have a static dimensioner, you can just walk around the pallet, scan it, and immediately capture those dimensions to calculate the rate and the invoice amount as well. It's also being used in hospitals, so it's a wide variety of use cases.
Well, that also means that it's very exact. Otherwise, it's not allowed to be used in a hospital environment. And getting back to the capturing of the data at inbound, don't underestimate the impact, because don't forget, the products that we ship, they belong to our partners, the brands. And even though they spend a lot of time and money on designing their products, they will never have held that exact product in their hands when we receive it. We are the ones that are actually looking after the product's quality and quantity.
Yep.
And with your tooling, we can do that a lot better and a lot more precise and in a more quicker and cost efficient way. So yeah, I for one see the benefits most definitely. Kevin, can you share a bit more about Blackman's case study or business case around the success story with Optiorix?
Sure. So we were taking a few years ago, it was 2 years ago, I think. We were meeting Bart, Vic, and Gilles for the first time, in one of our warehouses in Belgium. It was just before Black Friday. And we were just brainstorming about some potential use case.
Yeah, I still remember I was pitching the load building capacities, and then Kevin said, yeah, we don't need this here. We got fashion products, so it's not that interesting.
But still, we came to an idea where I said, okay, we still innovate, we automate, but we still have a lot of manual operation, and it will be very nice if we are able to optimize the walking distance of our picker, because if you look in the picking process, you look at the literature, but also database, 50 or 60% of the picking time is walking.
Yeah,
if you can reduce it. Yeah, it's the reason why the goods to man solution in automation is very, very popular. But for the client, the customer, where we still manual, there is their opportunity to make gains. So we brainstorm a bit in that meeting, and then Bart say, okay, let's think about that. We come back later. And then I think you organize a hackathon, something like that.
Yeah. We were on a team building, and at one day we thought like, okay, let's tackle this case. We got some data as well from you, and then we put the entire team on it. And at the end of the day, we have not a full-blown solution, of course, but a good start. Let's call it that way.
Yeah, but with current developments on the labor market, I think it's a very good idea, Kevin, if we stay close to Gilles and team and Bart, because the tightness on the labor market isn't going away. So the more we can offset on travel distances, the better it is for us.
Yeah, and a few weeks after, they came back and say, yeah, look, we did a hackathon. That's the result. It's not yet fully final, but we want to give you some insight.
Yeah.
So we saw the first simulation based on data we provide, and we saw, okay, there are a huge potential here. So we made some more analysis. We made a case. We presented internally. We got approval from the project board to go further. And then last year, I think you implemented the first customer in UK, and there we saw a huge savings, a huge potential. To give you numbers, we saw that for that particular customer, we can save up to 20% of walking distance. not on a person on the wall.
No, the overall operation.
The operation. 20% saving in walking distance doesn't mean 20% increase in productivity. As I said, 50 or 60% of the picking time is walking.
Of course.
So even though you have 10 to 11% increased productivity possibly. So we did a pilot, we verified that, and that's exactly what we got, 11% increase in productivity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, in the pilot, it's always important to, let's say, match theory with reality, because you can calculate something, but does that translate into the actuals? So we started out really following somebody with a measuring wheel and a stopwatch to check if it translates into reality. So we were following one person who was doing the picking. And we saw, okay, this matches with what we had in mind. And then we put one person live on the system. The optimized is also more or less in line. Then we thought, okay, let's put 5 people live on the system. We saw the same thing, then the entire warehouse, and then we followed up picking productivity, and it was increasing step by step. So that was nice to see. And now we're in the rollout phase of trying the same system in a lot of warehouses.
Well, and if you have up to 4,000 people working in warehouses doing picking, packing, etc., a 12% improvement isn't something to sneeze at. So
we're not stopping there, Erik. So we got another process we want to optimize. That's the order grouping. So if you need to group 20 orders in one pick route, it's good to do that in a more effective way as well. We see some very big gains there. So we're doing that in parallel. And later on, we're going to attack the slotting optimization. But
okay, guys, and looking ahead, what specific trends do you see emerging in logistics and in logistics software?
One of the trends is all about the cloud technology, using not only the server on your not anymore your server on on premise, but with the cloud, and you can instantly increase the capacity on the fly. Also, the digital twin, where you can simulate your processes virtually and replay the day. Do some change virtually and see what is the impact. It will save us a lot of time instead of just implementing the change, wait a week and look at the numbers. Here we can digitally play the scene and see the impact.
Okay.
Yeah, I think nowadays logistics providers are overwhelmed about all the options. You got automation at some point. It doesn't work for all operations and not for all SKUs. You got the microservices we're talking about. And I think for logistics providers, it's just a very important capability of having all that knowledge. And so if a new fashion customer comes in, that okay, let's look at the order profile. What do we need here? Do we need automation? Do we need optimization? And sometimes it can work hand in hand, but that capability is just key for having a very good logistics provider. I think Blackmon has that capability right now. So I think you guys are on a very good track.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much for your insights today. To my modest opinion, a very interesting talk, and we have learned a lot. Bart, in case the members of our audience want to discuss more about your products or about the assistance that you can give, how can they reach out to you?
So we post some content every now and then, mainly on use cases and the optimization cases we do on our website, so optiorix.com, or you can follow us on LinkedIn as well.
Thank you. Same question for you, Kevin. If members of the audience want to learn more about what's going on within Blackmon or how we can help them adapt to the ever-changing sector which we operate in, how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, I think same answer on our website. We also post some use case and some advancement we did and we do with innovation. If they have a particular question, they can reach me out on LinkedIn, of course.
And whenever you don't know who to reach out to within the Blackmon team, simply go to our website and use the links that are on there. For those tuning in, make sure to subscribe and stay on top of everything that is developing within Blackman, within the sector that we operate, and you will automatically be invited to join us for the next podcast. Again, thank you very much for joining today, and see you soon.